first thing that happens is the world goes black. You just hear a little snap when your neck rolls back. You don't bite your tongue off or foam at the lips. And before you hit the ground, there's a moment of bliss. It's like toking a spliff. It's like shedding your skin. It's better than the best train wreck there's ever been. You have to let it in, as much as it's upsetting. To wake up with bruises you don't remember getting. You don't remember how the hell you ended up indoors. You don't
Welcome to Seizure Salad, Fuster Clock Epilepticus, with test subject Micah B. The salty, slightly cynical account of Micah's shocking diagnosis with epilepsy, the synaptic jolts that short-circuited his world, and efforts to rewire his mind and create a new life. Oh, and he's going to have brain surgery. And now, Seizure Salad with your host and electrostatic meat sack, Micah B-side.
And if the world breaks your legs, you go and beat it with your crutch. It's all too much. It's all too much. You said it's all too much. And if the world breaks your legs,
actually, something I wanted to tell too is like, for those of you who have friends who are going through PTSD, any other neurological shit, or even like recent traumatic shit in their life, just remember that their emotions are so fucking up and down that if they snap or if they get all fucking stupid, weepy or whatever, it's probably not you. It's probably the mental and physiological shit, you know?
Absolutely.
Oh, totally. And for those of us that are going through shit like this and it's happening to us, just remember that you're the one who's fucked up emotionally right now. Whether or not your friends are damaged is like relative in this case. And especially if family, relative family. Okay. Bad pop. So, but if you're a neuro mess, just remember that. And just remember that oftentimes a lot of people might misunderstand what you just spewed out. Remember that you're going to spew out shit that might just be completely off your character. Okay? You've got to remember, as someone going through it, that most people are going to misunderstand, and you got to check yourself, or you got to follow up sometimes and be a little more self-aware than you would be otherwise, because your head's not right. So, I mean, it goes both ways. Everybody talks about somebody else understanding and stuff, and that's very, very important. In fact, I think that's prime. But at the same time, those who are going through whatever situation they're going, like the neurological stuff, the physical stuff, the shit that affects your head, your emotions, your responses, your actions,
your mental health in general. And that's the thing is like, especially, you know, even you kind of know this, and just mental health in general. It's like when people have a, you know, clinical depression, or if they have a bipolar, they're invisible diseases. You know, it's not like when you see somebody with obviously with a broken arm, you understand they have a broken arm. When you, but you can't tell, like when people are, sometimes you can't tell when people are depressed, you know, and it's easy to be out in social, you know. And I mean, like a big thing for me was a long time ago, I got diagnosed with high functioning anxiety. And basically, I never considered myself like an anxiety person or anything like that. But it was basically because, like, you know, I'm not like, I don't understand like social anxiety. I'm a social butterfly. But part of the reason for that is because if I would stop moving, and that's one reason I think I'm such a workaholic, is like if I stop moving, I start thinking too much. And it's like if you just stay in motion, you don't have to process anything. You just go.
You just keep going. Right.
Unfortunately, you know, like as you do that, it's like you can think you're doing productive stuff, but you're having but overall, it's like I felt terrible because I was just like, I wasn't taking care of what was actually on my mind. I was just distracting myself. And it you know, and I'm still trying to work on that. And like, it's a struggle and stuff like that for sure. But it's one of those things where it's like, you can't see it. And I wasn't even aware of it until I started noticing like little things and then big things in my life started just falling apart. And I just wasn't dealing with the emotions in a healthy way. And I would lash out at people sometimes, just unintentionally. Maybe it'd be something small, but something that would just be like I'm usually a really laid back guy. Like I like to think I'm pretty calm, even though it's probably not true. But it was just, I'm usually measured in my responses. Let me put it that way. I usually try not to get snippy with people or anything like that. But there was times when I would just haul off and, over like the simplest stuff. And then, I had to come back and I would just, it was really, I had to start noticing in my own self. I was like, why am I doing that? I was like, it's not necessary. I don't need to, be negative like that, especially when somebody they're trying to help and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it's, but yeah, just, there's so many invisible, like everybody says, everybody has their own battles. And so it's just, it's one thing to understand, but it's also like when you have that battle, it's like you also need to, you need to be self-aware to be able to try to limit the negative effects towards other people, especially people you care about.
Oh yeah.
And especially if you don't talk about it, it's hard for them to understand you.
It really came to light with me, like when I realized looking back, it's like, okay, I unfriended this person because I felt this way, although maybe I should have waited to hear back and see how they felt. I went off on this friend because I totally took what I thought they meant way too far. And it's not what those little things just start to add up, and it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I am a fucking emotional roller coaster fucking mess. So I guess that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. And you're right. It can happen. It can happen with life changes, serious, relational changes, job changes, health changes, of course, shit like that. It's just crazy, man. And it's kind of part of the whole thing that I think we've touched on off and on throughout the life of the podcast is the self-checking and self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's directions for this world aren't easy. There's a whole lot of asterisks and footnotes in this little material life game,
Absolutely.
Oh, totally. It's so crazy. But it's cool. It's a little adventure. Who knows if
100%.
Oh God. You gotta live it.
Yeah, so, I gotta live it. You gotta go through it, and and like I said, I think it's also I think for so long, you kind of said this material life, and I think a lot of that is for so long. I feel like people have been so focused on materialistic success.
Oh
And I mean,
yeah.
you look at how many people that are like famously wealthy, and or like look at Robin Williams, one of the funniest people in the world, committed suicide because of depression. And he had like everything,
Actually,
and so
I think it's pretty reliable source. Turns out that he had a degenerative disease that was like awful. So
maybe that was
he knew what was coming. But think, okay, one of my very favorite singers of all time, Chris Cornell, had everything. He has reinvented himself over and over again, and he had what everybody thought was everything. And what happens? This amazing, legendary superstar, one of the best vocal gifts I could remember, bam, decides to end it all. Beautiful wife, great loving relationship, super successful career, but something was going on. Yeah,
absolutely. And like the sad part is like there's so many cases of that where it's just so I think for so long people chase like materialistic success, and even outside of the musical world, you go into like CEOs. How many like have you heard of corporate executives that have all of these like mental health issues, or it comes out and when it does come out and stuff like that? And so it's just one of those things where I think now it's just people were chasing materialistic stuff for so long. And I think again, like, just a difference in thinking where now it's like, there's more. Now that we have access to the entire world, we realize there's a lot more to it than the shit we can buy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and when I said material, I was actually more referring to the physical, the blood and bones and but what you just talked about relates to that exactly, because that is, it's still the material. We are stuck and focused on the physical. Totally get that, because that's what we can see and feel. But there's, like you said, there's so much more. There are external elements that much of which we don't understand all the way. Much of it we know, but we completely discount. So
absolutely.
Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm. And so, what do you think? I had a train of thought, then I lost it.
That happens a lot.
It happens when you do dabs and you're hungover, so it's the bummer.
Hurting in the kill bills. This is to my sick kids. Time to flip this shit. Depakote, Adderall, Ritalin, Pixie sticks. I don't give a fuck what you're riding to the setting sun. Use it as a weapon when it's said and done. It's all too much.
Seizure Salad, Fustercluck Epilepticus is produced and hosted by Michael Ball. The song Seizure Boy, courtesy of Watsky and used with permission. Find more great music and poetry on his website, georgewatsky.com. Original logo painting by Brent Olson of Olson Studios. High-resolution MRI image of Micah's brain provided by the Rockstar Lab techs at UC Health Neurology in Denver. Follow our podcast, like our Facebook page. Whatever floats your boat, just keep listening. And join us again soon for another episode of Seizure Salad. Until then, unexpect the expected, and remember that it's all in your head.
You ever had a grand mal seizure in gym class? That whiplash back when life was dishing out pimp slaps? Fed up and we've all been better, but I'm set to step up, never let up, cause the fall is just a setup now to get up. Regret will never get the better.